I think we can bring back Kevin McCarthy, the House Minority Leader. Congressman, this biggest disaster that I've seen in American history militarily is an unforced error, and clearly he wants to blame President Trump. Was President Trump culpable in your minds at all for this?
No, I've talked to President Trump yesterday, and you heard from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. This would have never happened under President Trump, the scenario of what transpired. They would have stopped what was moving forward. This Biden administration said they planned for every scenario. They told us 2 days prior that Kabul was not imminent. He told us less than a month before that this would never happen. I was in those intel briefings. We knew this would transpire. Why didn't he stop it? He blamed everybody but the Taliban. And what's even worse here is, this isn't about leaving, this is about American legacy and Biden's lack of leadership. This will last for decades. Remember what Secretary of Defense Robert Gates said about Joe Biden, that he's been wrong on almost every foreign policy decision for the last 4 decades. He just cost the rest of this nation, for our allies, for our adversaries, what they're going to do. And remember what Joe Biden said as vice president. His advice was not to go in and get bin Laden. This is the decision that he has made once again, but it causes problems for decades. What's even worse, the people he is leaving behind, there's Americans still sitting there to shelter in place. And these individuals who fought with us, who were the translators and others, who are now dropping from airplanes, that's the symbol of America and about freedom?
It's embarrassing.
Yeah. What about...
And I have, for every Gold Star family, for every soldier that fought there, I want to say thank you. You did your duty. What is transpiring right now should have never happened, and it was an ill on American for decades to come.
What's the plan to get these Americans out? Or what's the message that he's sending to these parents that are here in America and their kids are over there, or those Gold Star parents who lost their loved ones fighting for our country?
They are sitting at an airport. He's now moving more military in that he pulled out. We had a small individual set group there of soldiers that were keeping the peace when he just ripped them all out. And now do you have Americans sheltering in place? How are they ever even going to get to the airport? There has to be more bloodshed to be able to save them. What about those who fought alongside of us? What about the promises we made to them?
Yeah.
Who planned for that scenario?
Kevin,
why isn't people being fired?
NATO said they would stay. The contractors said they would stay. If we just committed to air power, there's no way this could have happened.
I was with President Ghani when he came to America, when we asked these questions. Why didn't we give air power? Why didn't we stop it when we sat around, when we watched the Taliban encircling these provinces? Why didn't they go in and stop after they went into the first city? We had the air power to do it. That goes directly with Joe Biden. He is right. The buck stops with him. He made those decisions. He overrode what the intel told him to do.
Yeah.
And this is why this should not stop. We should get all the information, all the accounting, and people should not be kept in the positions that are making these decisions.
Leader McCarthy, it was a year ago, Joe Biden was running for president, and he said, you need to elect me president of the United States because I am more confident than Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't know what he's doing as president of the United States. Now you look at the devolving catastrophe that is happening right now in Kabul and the rest of Afghanistan, and everything that Joe Biden said wouldn't happen is happening. He said there wouldn't be choppers leaving from the embassy. Okay, we've seen
worse.
That. He said the Taliban's not going to take over the whole country, overrun the country, and own it all. But that has happened, and now people are scratching their head. As we look at that transport plane with 640 people on board where the hero pilots took off to save their lives, people are going, what exactly did we get when it comes to foreign policy by electing Joe Biden commander-in-chief?
And Stevie said there won't be a Saigon moment.
There you go.
And when he had our military leave Bagram Air Base at night without telling anyone, you know there were 5,000 prisoners there who are now released. And this is the same president that opened up our border. And remember, when we went down to the border back in February, we learned then that who's coming across that border? We were catching people on the terrorist watch list from Yemen. My question to the White House is, are they going to shut this border down now? Who's going to come across that border now? Well, if these people are on the terrorist watch list, why are they coming to America and what do they have planned?
Right.
Yeah.
Those prisoners coming out, every single action this president has made us weaker and more vulnerable.
Well, and when he was vice
From the border
president,
to our energy.
Sorry to interrupt you, but when he was vice president with Barack Obama, they released the Taliban commander who's in charge of what's happening in Afghanistan right now. He was in Gitmo, and we traded him with 4 others for Bo Bergdahl.
It's a prime example of the decisions of Joe Biden, the ramifications it has on America. So when we watch what unfolds today, the embarrassment, the emboldenment of our adversaries, what will it do to America years from now? Not just from where our allies will even trust us. Not that China feels emboldened on Taiwan and actions that can be taken. But you've got American lives at stake sitting right there today. And he turns around without answering a question. His own cabinet, who did a conference call with Republicans and Democrats, where you had the Speaker of the House praise his action, praise his bold words, but refused to take questions. Each member had to sign in with their own identity so they could pick, and they said nobody else is in the queue. You know how many members we have on both sides of the aisle that have served our nation, but they're afraid to take a question from them?
Well, Kevin,
right now, we need to solve this problem and rebuild this nation's trust with the rest of the world.
But that's even more long-term. I'm talking about today. Today, right now, you have 80,000 visa applications. You have Americans who can't get out of their hotel rooms. Journalists, Washington Post, New York Times, Fox News, CNN, they cannot get to the tarmac. They can't get to a cargo plane. They can't get to a first or a cargo seat. So what are we going to do to them? And what about the ones outside Kabul? Leader McCarthy, you could get answers to this. And if you don't, that means the Pentagon doesn't have them. They need answers now.
Yeah, and they've told us they've planned for every scenario. This question that you have that needs to be done today, it needed to be done last month. And I will tell you, we asked those questions more than a month ago, more than 2 months ago on the scenario, and they tried to tell us that they had this planned. We knew time and again that they continued to fail. We need to protect these American lives and protect every individual that fought with us and every promise we made to them. We need to get them out of the country into a third country to be able to screen them before we bring them in. The president should be working on this day and night, not hiding, not vacationing, but getting the job done, because we will do it. We will work together to make this happen. I sat with the Secretary of State in the White House. I told him whatever needs to be done prior to any collapse here or seeing the scenario that was happening, that Republicans would work with them to make sure all Americans are out and every scenario in an interpreter was protected as well.
Well, something fell through the cracks, and now we've got to figure it out. Leader McCarthy, thank you very much for joining us from Wyoming. We apologize for the audio trouble, but we were able to work it out. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.